Hi, everybody. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully everyone is finding their way to the LCI Huddle Mountain Time Zone LCI meeting. And I just noticed I put your mountain time zone in Eastern. Sorry. It's 3:30 for me in Kemi, but 1:30 for all of you. So I apologize for that. A lot of calculations in my head as I was making these slides. So come on in, get yourself situated. We'll start in just a minute. How's the waiting room looking? Good, clear?
Yes, the waiting room is clear.
All right, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the LCI Huddle for Mountain Time Zone LCIs. I appreciate you coming. My name is Alison Dewey. I am one of two hosts today. The other host is Jace Burbidge from Bike Utah. And I'll give a little bit more information about Jace in a few minutes. First, I want to welcome all of you to the meeting and encourage you to, turn on your camera. We love seeing your faces. It makes it just more enjoyable to see people's faces instead of just their names. We don't care what your background looks like, don't worry. I didn't really dress up mine at all, so don't worry. But while you're keeping your camera on, please keep your microphone off so we just can eliminate some distractions. There will be some times when you're invited to unmute yourself. But in the meantime, please keep yourself on mute. We're encouraging people to use the Zoom chat function for questions and comments during this hour. There's also a question and answer chat box on Whova, but there's so many people at this year's summit that it's hard to manage both. So if you could chat your questions in the Zoom box. And then finally, I have to turn on the closed captioning. Hold on one second. Okay. So closed captioning is turned on. So you should see words at the bottom of your screen. If you do not want the closed captioning, you can turn that off on your navigation bar. The meeting, as a reminder, it's being recorded, so just keep that in mind. We will have some time at the end, probably 15 or 20 minutes for question and answer. But don't, when you think of a question, put it in the chat box so you can keep hold of it and we'll address it at the end. And also, please be respectful in your comments and chats and video. We're all friends here. Let's just, stay positive. I assume everyone will. But it's always good to be reminded. And let's see. A couple quick general announcements. Hashtag Bike Summit 21 is what we're using on social media. You can see the full agenda at bikeleague.org/summit or on Whova. And you are invited to the LCI Appreciation Hour tonight, which is 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. in Mountain Time. So right around the dinner hour. Hope you can join us. If you will be joining us, please be sure to mark that you're joining through the Whova app or the Whova platform, I guess. You can do it either on the web app or the mobile app. because if you tell us you're coming, we'll be able to enroll you in the prize giveaway. There'll be some random prizes given away that night, and you have to be there to win them. But we need to know who, that you're there to win them. And then finally, thank you to our sponsors. It's a long list, and we're very grateful and appreciative of those sponsors. In the essence of time, I'm not going to go through them all, but know that we are thankful to our sponsors, and the summit would not be able to be happening without them. So a big thanks to all those groups. Okay, so I am going to introduce Jace Burbidge from Bike Utah. He is a current LCI. He is on staff at Bike Utah and is also their youth program director. Bike Utah credits a lot of the success with their Youth Best program to Chase's involvement with it, because of his passion for cycling and his dedication to sharing the love of bikes with Utah students. Jace has been an LCI for 5 years. Did I get that right? 5 years, I think. He was certified in Boise, I remember that.
That sounds right, yeah.
And so Jace is gonna give a little bit, he's gonna like kind of break the ice a little, get us warmed up, and then talk about what's going on at Bike Utah and for LCIs and with the organization in bike education. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and hand it over to Jace.
Cool. Thanks, Alison. One thing that I really like to mention that you brought up with being an LCI for 5 years as well is that when I first became an LCI, I was really nervous that there was like a very strict protocol and exact things I had to do all the time. And I've come to realize that there are so many people doing so many different programming opportunities all across, whether it's smart cycling or youth education or all these things, and they're working together within it. So as wonderfully structured as it is, it's also really widely diverse. And I so appreciate that about the LCI platform. So yeah, as Alison said, my name is Jace Burbidge. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I was hoping to get it rolling because this meeting is really about getting to know and coordinate with all the other LCIs in our area who you may have not met or know are doing programming or are right next door to you in your city or state. So I thought we'd start out with an icebreaker to get to know everyone real quick. We have a decent sized group, so we get like 30 seconds apiece. But this one I've usually called on the spot. So we are all somewhat involved in bikes, and you are all in a room that is not around bikes. So if you can find something or think of something near you that is bike related, it can be a picture, it can be a water bottle, it can be anything around you. It can be your knee that broke and doesn't work for you anymore. And tell us a 10 to 30 second story about it, and then pick the next person. We'll keep on going. So just to reiterate, start with your name, where you're at, and a quick icebreaker. And then I'm going to let you pick the next person in line. If you're unfamiliar with Zoom, there's a little reactions tab at the bottom here, and you can raise your hand on it. When you're done, go ahead and pick someone with a raised hand, because that tells you they're ready to go and haven't gone yet. So we don't have to go through all that confusion. So Jace Burbidge, this one is one of my favorite pictures that a friend sent me of their bike in Thailand riding railroad tracks. I gave them that bike before they started doing pedicabbing in Salt Lake City years ago. And then they rode it all through Thailand, China, and New Zealand. And it is wonderful for me to feel like bikes get all over the world and to live vicariously through other people. So anyone else ready to go? If you want to and you feel like you're ready, go ahead and raise your hand.
I'll go while anyone else sets up. Cool. I have a box of greeting cards here that I picked up. They have a bike on the front of the card. So whenever I think of people who I want to send greeting cards to, I try to send them one from this box. Alison?
Great. So I am in our lovely office / storage room at home. I'm not going to show you all the stuff that's over there, but we have like shelves of like bags, panniers, trunks on the shelves back there, and we do a lot of bike camping as a family. So, and this is where all the bike camping stuff is stored. So I see Erica's hand raised. Erica, you want to go?
Sure, thanks, Allison. Hi, everyone. Erica Benty at Colorado State University in Fort Collins. So the only thing that I have within reach here that's bike related are these little bungee cords, which I used most recently to strap all my smart cycling teaching gear to the rack of my bike when I did a smart cycling class about a month ago. So that's my story. So we are doing some smart cycling here with our CSU students and employees. And let's see, I don't see anybody else yet with their hand raised. Oh yes, Alexa, I'll turn it over to you.
Hello, can everyone hear me okay? Okay, great. My name is Alexa, and I'm also with Bike Utah and the youth program. And the closest thing I had to me, it's going to be hard because it's pretty big, but it's this photo a friend took of me. Ooh, the glare is terrible. You can kind of see little old me. Oh, here we go. That's me, and it's on this canyon road. There's like this huge shadow, but it's a photo that my friend actually took here in Utah on this lovely road called Butterfield Canyon Road that goes up into the Ochre Mountains just west of the valley here. So thankful that I had a friend actually take a picture of me because I didn't know how awesome it actually looked from a third person point of view. So yeah, this picture just sits above my computer and makes me super thankful for the awesome roads we have here for cycling. Oh, and the next person is, I see Lauren's raising their hand. We'll go with Lauren.
I can't find the hand raised thing, and I'm just going to be lazy and reach over here and get this glass that doesn't have beer in it. Yeah, I'm waiting for the happy hour. So Lauren Greenfield, I am in Longmont, Colorado, and so this glass has a bicycle on it. As I have several of these, all of which have been gifted to me. This one came from my sister that was full of M&Ms, and I'm getting my hardwood floors redone next week. So everything is out of my living room. So even though there's still some bike art around, and I will choose who has their hand up. Trini.
There you go. So, hi, I'm Trini and I'm in Boulder, Colorado, and I am the founder of a nonprofit called It Could Be Me. And right now, we just got new ambassador shirts. Well, this way. And so my life has been getting packages ready. And I don't know if you guys can see. Oh gosh, there's boxes and boxes of them. So that's what I've been doing all weekend. So yeah. And I can't see anybody with their hand raised. Let's see. Is anybody ready?
Looks like Mary Walter is.
Oh yeah, Mary. I'm gonna choose Mary.
Hello. Yeah, it took me a long time to figure out where that raise your hand button was, but it's in the chat. My name is Mary Walter. I also work at Bike Utah, and I have a few bike things in my room right now. I have my rechargeable bike light. I love it mostly because it's rechargeable, and there's a few different settings on it, and I always feel safe when I have it on. Okay. Let's see. Anybody else? Laura.
Hey y'all, I'm Laura from Bike Easy in New Orleans. I missed the Central Time, so I'm speaking in here with y'all on Mountain Time. I was looking for something around, and then I realized I was wearing this shirt. So I work with Bike Easy, something y'all might have heard about us in New Orleans, but before it was called Bike Easy, 15 years ago, it was called the Metro Bicycle Coalition. People decided that was too many words, so I'm wearing my shirt from very early on. This is like the first incarnation of bike advocacy in New Orleans. It says Southern Cycling Hospitality on there. So still trying to embody that today and rocking my t-shirt from 15 years ago. So thanks for letting me sneak into your time zone.
Well, I see you're not the only one.
Looks like we're maybe running out of some folks. If you haven't had an opportunity, we're just introducing yourself, telling us where you're at, and then grabbing something close by you and telling us what it is. For those of you that might not have your cameras on, you are welcome to just speak and introduce yourself too. Let's see, Deanna or George, are you able to speak?
Hi, this is Deanna Smith. I live in Boise, Idaho, and I work in the whole state. I don't have anything around me other than the fact that I'm attending this today. So that will be my reminder. I've been in LCI for about 6, 7, 8 years now.
Thanks for attending.
So I guess I'll go. I'm George Pearson. I'm in Las Cruces, New Mexico. We have a advocacy group, Velo Cruces, and we haven't really done any LCI things. We've partnered with the Velo Paso from down in El Paso to do some teaching. So we try to work with each other. As for a bike thing, I'll show my zipper pole that I have. It's just constructed from some recycled bike chain, and this has a community bike shop hub, so this became recycled out of that.
That is so cool. That's going to be on all my clothes now. Let's see. Preston, are you able to speak with us too?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I'm Preston Tyree, and I don't belong in this group. I'm from Austin, Texas, but I happen to know an awful lot of people in this group, and I've been an LCI for 25 years, and I have moved to trikes. I figure I got another 15 or 20 years to go, and I'm going to do it on 3 wheels instead of 2, because to me it's a lot safer. I just had abdominal surgery. They cut out part of my lower intestine, and 48 hours after surgery, I was on my trike riding because the doctor wanted me to get exercise and make sure everything worked. And so I would not have done that on a bicycle. I'm sorry. That would have been too crazy. But on a trike, you betcha. So.
Preston, I love that. One of the things that we've been working on at Bike Utah that I really think is cool is trying to rebrand things as cycle instead of bicycle, especially for the inclusive communities out there that might be on any adaptive bikes or anything as well.
Yeah.
Just to give them a seat at the table is really cool.
So when you've got a tricycle that's hand cranked because you don't have any legs, what do you call it?
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. Yeah, let's go cycling. Heck yes.
Cool. Iris, if you're able to hear us, we're just introducing ourselves and telling a 20-second story about you and what brings you to cycling and where you're at. Maybe not. If you can, feel free to. Oh, looks like they dropped off. Oh well. All right, maybe they'll come back. This is cool. It seems like we got folks from Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, Texas, New Orleans, DC. I'm trying to remember. Cincinnati. Sorry, didn't mean to leave you out there. Cool. Well, we'll keep going. I get the opportunity here with my work as an LCI and Bike Utah to really quickly spotlight some of the work that we've been doing this year and just show you kind of a sneak peek into what Bike Utah's work has been doing and what one instance of LCI's work could be doing. Alison's going to follow up afterwards with a little more info about smart cycling as more applicable to the whole league as well too. I was really excited. So my role at Bike Utah is I run the youth education program, which we go to schools all over the state of Utah. We have 2 big box trucks and we teach 4th through 7th graders how to ride in the road. It's a 4-day program for an hour a day. We provide all the bikes, helmets, all the things like that. currently that has not been very accessible. So usually my role as an LCI is pretty focused on that. But during the pandemic, we've had an opportunity for myself and predominantly other staff members, particularly Mary and Alexa in this group too, to start hosting some smart cycling courses and use this time where we can't go to schools to try to get some more adults into smart cycling and LCI functions so that they can perpetuate that as we go back to schools and take those reins. So one thing I just really wanted to show off is Mary and Alexa did a smart cycling class yesterday in Utah where we had snow coming down and it was 30 degrees. And I'm gonna share a screen really quick because I just absolutely love this video. There it is. All right, this is Alexa. I'm going to embarrass you a little bit doing their smart cycling course outside with a crew of other folks, but just a quick scream in the dark. I don't know if that's coming through everyone's internet, but they did smart cycling yesterday in 30-degree weather, and I was very impressed. That means we get to keep this going and get better and better at our digital inclusion of smart cycling as we test that out and go into spring and get back into person. So some of the other things I really quickly wanted to show off is because we haven't been able to go to schools this year, Bike Utah has been working really hard on our website to build out some of these digital resources. Our youth education program is called Youth Best. That's bicycle education safety training. Even though I mentioned we're shifting the language to cycle instead of bike, there's still some remnants, and I've been really impressed with some of the ways that actually Alexa came up with ways to talk about how we're moving towards these more inclusive ways, and that doesn't mean we have to ignore the work we've done in the past. So it can be a slow journey that we're figuring out new language and working together on it. But generally, we go to schools all around the state, and I will post links to these pages in the past. So if I'm moving too fast, I will get back to you. But we host our youth programming. Here's a very cute picture of a young one down in southern Utah, and this was her first day ever riding a bike, and you can see the jubilance in her face coming off of it. Not only did she learn to ride a bike, but she went on a tour of her own neighborhood and was able to figure out some ways to get to and from school. And then we try to link these students up with local resources in their own neighborhoods to continue, like local bike collectives or organizations there too. And then one of the things that I really love and we've had a lot of success with is hosting the numbers that we come up with on our website. It's a really easy way for us as LCIs to show off the work we're doing, continue to get grant funding for our programs, and keep that going. And also another thing is the photos and artwork section. We spent some time this year putting a whole bunch of thank you cards up onto our website in a way that like scrolls through them. And anytime you go to a convention, putting this up on a big whiteboard is so helpful to get people interested in your programming, just to show them that you are doing active work and that there are kids out riding with you. This is one of the few pandemic classes we did with all the kids distanced and masks and things. So we're trying to get back out there. But some of the other stuff we've been really working on here is we've also put together a Learn to Ride website through Bike Utah, because we can't always get out there to support parents or teachers before we come to their schools, and they want to know how to ride a bike around with their kids and skills to do that. So we put together a whole website of ways that we utilize as a program to come out and help those students to learn it. And we jumped into TikTok this year, which has been such a cool resource to utilize, because if you want to talk to kids and younger students, you should meet them where they're at instead of asking them to come to you. Right now, we rehosted them through YouTube on our website, but they're also like all these anywhere from 10 to 30-second shorts about skills to ride your bike. Hopefully this one will transfer through, but I'm going to play a short one really quick. It's got some music and some skills of a way to show off what you're doing. Thanks. We've really enjoyed doing some of these short videos because we can offer them to teachers or parents on the fly that are hosted on our website and show them with people they've already met. Like if I go to a school, get to know a student a little bit, they haven't quite learned to ride and they want some more resources, we can send them to a place with familiar people that feels like that encouragement is continuing, even though we can't be there in person always. And another, with those TikToks and YouTube videos, we've had a lot of success during the pandemic for our alterations in our grant reporting, because everyone needs funding. We've been able to report the number of views in absence of in-person attendees to many of our programs in the temporary, especially to larger legislative spaces where they don't understand what TikTok is. So if you tell them numbers in association with it, they are more likely to glance it over and not question you instead of dive too deep in. So that's been really helpful for us. And then the last real quick thing I wanted to show off is some really amazing work by a collaborative effort, but primarily Alexa, who's also in this call, doing some cyclocross research, because we get tons and tons of questions locally about, hey, I've been hit by a car, I've crashed on my bike, I need resources, what do I do? So we put together 3 pages here that also have a printable form, and we went out and kind of acted out the premise of it and what was happening, and made notes about what to do after you're hit, how to check yourself out safely, how to take notes about these things, and what to record before you speak to authorities and things as well. We've also been contacting local law firms and attorneys to try to get them to see if they would be interested in representing people who might be involved in spaces like this. And that pulls in people outside of the cycling community closer to us and makes those relationships contingent. And also working on some ways to pull them into our membership campaigns as well. So not just cycling groups that can be partnered with the programs we do. So I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna throw those in there too. Oh, thanks for those plugs, Mary, as well. Sorry, I didn't see that in the chat bar. So if anyone wants to check those out, you are welcome to. We've also done a ton of work on translating all of our things this year, because we've had the time into at least English and Spanish, and all of our more singular documents like permission slips and media consent from students, which is real important as we go to schools, into English, Spanish, Arabic, French, and I think we have some others going on there. The short documents, it's been really helpful to pull in that inclusion as we work with like refugee communities and things like that. Just showing that first step of, hey, we're able to at least attempt to meet you on a language barrier here is a really good buy-in from folks. So I'll pass it off to Alison. We're gonna have some Q&A at the end too, if anyone wants to talk more about any of these things. So.
Great, thanks, Jace. Really appreciate it. Okay, before I go any further, I want to be sure to introduce and thank my colleague, Adekemi Adumuyeyo. She is helping moderate the chat and answer questions. I would be a mess without her, so I really appreciate your help, Kemi. And you said something. Oh, Iris. So Iris was on. Iris is actually speaking in a session on Tuesday. So if you want to hear more from Iris, I think she might have just hopped off too quick. But Iris is speaking in the Improving Public Health through Bicycling Education. She does a lot of work in bicycling education in Pima County. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, everybody see that? My slide? Okay, good. Got some nodding heads. It's always good. Okay, so I'm gonna go over for the next maybe 10 minutes, and then we'll have about 20 minutes for questions. I'm going to go over some smart cycling updates, some program reminders, and smart cycling coming soons, and then give you a glimpse on some of the demographic information we've been collecting on new LCIs, who's becoming LCIs in the past year and a half. So with the updates, I hope everyone knows we've tried to get this out as broadly as we can, that we have a new youth smart cycling instructors manual. It's we're not changing anything crazy with the curriculum, but we're just representing it in different ways. It has station layouts, it has objectives, it has scripts. It's really written with the LCI in mind that is running a youth clinic and doing so with assistants or other LCIs. We realize that working with kids, you need at least a few people on hand, and maybe not all the time those people are going to be LCIs. So it gives very detailed instructions on how to support that LCI who is running the clinic. It has a lot of great photos in it, new photos from some partner groups across the country. And it's available in the League store. And all LCIs that are coming through the seminars, since we've created it, receive a copy of this along with the other manuals. So I encourage you to check it out. The other thing that we're really excited about is the Youth Skills Kit. We put this together, also trying to make it easy for the LCI to run a youth rodeo or a clinic. This progress check card mirrors the manual. So you have the same stations, the objectives of each station, and it just is something the child can walk away with and keep them remembering what they learned and what is still to come, what they could work on a little bit more. And it's a way for their parents or an adult to know what they've been working on. We also include in the kit quick guides for parents, because we realize that education doesn't stop with the LCI. Parents need to know bicycling education as well, cycling education. And then we also include ABC Quick Check bookmarks, the neon bike pins that everyone loves, and this cool sticker sheet that we developed. They're really fun. My kids love them. They had input on them, and I love them even as an adult. They're really fun. So I encourage you to check that out. That's also available on the League website. The other thing I'm really excited about is the online League Learning Center. If you're active on the hub or read the Smart Cycling updates I send out over email, I hope this isn't new news, but this is a great new tool that the League has developed, keeping up with the online presence and a lot of people going to online for resources. The Smart Cycling will not be the only thing on here. Perhaps some of you watch the Lobbying 101 videos on here. They're now included in our Learning Center or the Advocacy 101. But Smart Cycling will be the foundation for the Learning Center. The Smart Cycling tab, when you open this down here, it opens up to a tab that will take you to the basic material, advanced material, and intermediate material of the Smart Cycling curriculum. And it does a really good job of mirroring the manual. So they would go great hand in hand, or would suffice on its own. It's made, each section is made up of quizzes, of videos, downloadable PDFs, things like that. So I encourage you to check it out. It's also very new, so I appreciate feedback when you do go and check it out. If you see something that you like, let me know. If you see something you don't like, let me know. If you see something that we could be wording differently, maybe it doesn't quite relay the meaning that you think we're intending to relay, let me know, because I'm always interested in hearing different perspectives. And no longer will we have bikeed.org. If anyone ever experienced bikeed.org. It was great while in like the 80s, but now it's like, it was really old. It had our old logo on it. I'm very happy to say goodbye to bikeed.org. It was a great resource, especially for everyone in Houston. We developed that with Houston Parks, I think, or Houston City of Houston. But now if you go to bikeed.org, it's going to direct you to learn.bikeleague.org, and that's where everything is being housed. So check it out. You can access it, the Learning Center, through the LCI portal. So if you just log into LCI portal, on the left-hand navigation bar, there will be a link right to the Learning Center. All right, moving into some reminders for all of you. We are having a big sale on quick guides. So any order is 50% off. It could be one quick guide you order. It could be 5,000 quick guides. You will get 50% off the total price. So please order them now. This is while supplies last. We're trying to do a big move out of the old quick guide because we have a new quick guide coming in, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Also, if you haven't logged into the hub at all, or if you aren't a part of that conversation, please join on there. I put me and a lot of you put great resources on there, share resources, ask questions. It's a great platform to open up a conversation about a certain topic that you need help with, or that you want to share your resources about. So take a look at that. Again, through the LCI portal, you can get to the hub as well. And then finally, we've put out a new 2021 LCI badge. We do this annually, so that's different than the 2020 LCI badge, obviously, but we want to make sure that people understand you're a current LCI, not just through our Connect Locally map, but through your own promotion of your work as a league cycling instructor. That is also available on the LCI portal. I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but it's all there in the portal. All right, let's see, some coming soons. Okay, we are finally soon to make available a new quick guide, our second version of the quick guide, which will have information on e-bikes added to it. Same content otherwise, but with 4 pages of e-bikes. And this is going to be available in English and Spanish. We're really excited about it. It gives a basic overview of e-bikes. If you know anything about e-bikes, you know it's sort of complicated because there's a classification system with e-bikes. And you might know that not every state recognizes that classification system as it exists, but a lot of people are working on the policy and laws regarding e-bikes. There is a page on our website where we dig deeper into what that classification is, what it means for you on an e-bike in terms of on trails and roads and bikeways. So take a look at that. And if you're not finding what you want in the e-bike portion of the quick guide, take a look at our website with more detailed information on e-bike policy and laws. Okay, also coming soon, we have a smart cycling tips for older adults. It's a short module which builds on our basic, advanced, or intermediate and advanced sections. So this is by no means a standalone class. We encourage people that are interested in the smart cycling tips for older adults to first have at least taken a basics in cycling class, because this is geared for older adults. So it's specific information for an older adult who either is returning to cycling or you know, has some life changes that they are getting reacquainted with cycling. This will be included in the online learning center. So it will be very accessible to everyone on demand. And we're also making the slide deck available to LCIs so that you can run a class for older adults. This is done in partnership with AARP. So a big thanks to AARP for helping us make this happen. And then I think this is the last coming soon. This we announced late last year that we have a LCI scholarship program that is in partnership with Quality Bicycle Products and the Be Good Foundation. And we are running this. So every seminar that happens in 2021 will have a scholarship awarded to the host organization to use and distribute to how they want. It's encouraged that the use of it is to help diversify the LCI community in that area. And that diversity could be through gender, through ethnicity, through location. We want this to be a tool that kind of breaks down barriers for people who are interested in becoming LCIs, but you know, don't have the resources. On top of that one scholarship that's being offered to each seminar or to each host organization, there's an opportunity for 3 additional scholarships to be granted to the League member group, and that is through an application process. So the objective of this is to build diversity within the LCI National Network and help our member groups diversify their community of LCIs. Also, a big thanks to QBP and the Be Good Foundation for their support of that. The application for League member groups to access these scholarships will be available later in March. Oh, sorry, one more coming soon. It's the jerseys and polos. We're going to open the store again. Probably, I'd say late March, early April, hopefully late March. So everyone, if that wants a jersey or a polo, can get it by the spring riding season. I know some of you probably already are riding, but the spring riding season where the snow has gone and it's you're cycling by daffodils and shaded trees. So be on the lookout for that. Keep your eye on the hub for that. I'll blast it through as many avenues as I can. Just a reminder that they do have women's cuts and men cuts of the jersey. So they're very nice and very comfortable. Okay, and I also wanted to share some information on demographics that we've picked up in the last 18 months. So back in June of 2019, we added demographic questions to the LCI seminar registration form. We wanted to know where we were with who was taking our seminars. We've done surveys in the past of demographics of LCIs. However, we've never thought that was a real clear kind of response because with surveys, there's always some margin of error there. Not everyone responds to surveys. So we just thought, you know what, from the get-go, we're going to ask those demographic questions to know who's becoming LCIs. So we started doing that in June 2019. We have about 18 months worth of LCIs to kind of help us understand who's taking the seminars. So we looked at gender, ethnicity, and age. So the next 3 slides are just basically big pie graphs of who these new LCIs are, who have been LCIs for the last about 18 months. And we haven't had any seminars in 2021 yet. Our first seminar won't be until April. So this really represents the last 18 months of people becoming LCI. So you can see we're the last 18 months, we've had a few more females becoming LCIs. Ethnicity-wise, this is pretty close to representing the American public, but I think we can do better in a lot of these areas. So this is really just kind of informing us of who is taking our seminars and helping us understand where we can build from and reach new communities. And then age-wise, this is the breakdown as well. It's very colorful. I love the colors. Okay, so let's see. That is it for my slides. I'm now going to open the floor and see what kind of questions we have, if any. We can certainly talk about what's going on in other places, answer some questions, hear more from Jace. Cami, do we have any questions?
We don't seem to have many questions from the group at this time, but I am curious, maybe you or Jace can speak about maybe a goal for the number of LCIs that we are looking for. Is there a goal, or we're looking to make every person in America an LCI? And how are we going about increasing that?
Yeah, so that's good. So I think for the league, we track how many LCIs we certify each year. It's typically, I mean, outside of the pandemic, it's about 400 LCIs every year. We've certified about 6,700, a little, maybe up to 6,800. So I think we track that, seeing any major drop off. Certainly there are some areas that we see need more LCIs. On the coast, we have a lot of LCIs. Once you get more in the middle, outside of urban kind of areas, we don't have as many LCIs. So that's always something that we target. The other thing I really look at is LCI renewal rates. That typically hovers about 78%. And so that's just something else I monitor at the end of the year, looking at. We dropped off a little bit in 2020, and that might be pandemic related. But I think we were down to like 75%. But, that's an indication to me of kind of how well we're serving LCIs. Obviously there'll be some drop off of just, with people doing other things or aging out of wanting to teach bicycling education. But that's something else I look at.
And I guess building from that, there was a question posed in Huva, seems like quite some time ago. But curious for all of you, who has been teaching lately? We know that the pandemic has definitely changed the way we teach, but I saw Jace, you shared photos. Does anyone else have any tips for teaching in this pandemic environment?
I can talk about a little bit about my experience. I'm with the university here, but we often partner with the city of Fort Collins for our smart cycling classes, and we'll open it up to the university and the community, and then we kind of trade off which LCIs teach the classes. And so we've had several of those
you know, in pandemic times, the city's been doing a lot of online as well. And what we've done with Smart Cycling in particular is we do the, you know, kind of the classroom portion as a Zoom meeting. And then we've been doing the on bike portion really in person. But we've been limiting it to having 10 people there. So usually 2 instructors and 8, you know, students. And then, you know, doing the kind of the typical things that you would think of, making sure everyone's wearing a mask, keeping our distance, having a lot of hand sanitizer available, even doing little stuff like having them print out and bring their own waivers and everything beforehand and fill them out so that we're not like passing pens around. We actually had quite a few scheduled last fall, and actually the biggest issue for us was not so much the pandemic, but was the all of the wildfires that we had in the West, and we had to keep canceling due to air quality issues. And so we had this big backlog of students who we had canceled on several times for that reason, and that we finally were able to get through just in these past couple months doing a couple of classes. But again, we had to deal with the kind of uncertainty of weather, but we were happy that we finally got them through. So I mean, it's been nice teaching in smaller groups, you know, certainly has its advantages. It's really made it, you know, we can really get to know each individual really well. And, you know, now we're also used to wearing masks and everything. That didn't feel like too much of a barrier. So I'd say that's my experience.
Thank you. Are there any other experiences that would like to be shared? Has anyone else been teaching, or maybe you've seen something?
So I'll add, we got a couple questions in the last group meetings about the LCI seminar and it being hosted virtually. We are offering that option. I want to be sure to classify it as mostly virtual because there is a on-bike component to it. It was really important to us at the league that we certify a person after we've seen them on a bike. It was hard to get around that idea of certifying someone to teach the curriculum without ever seeing them on the bike. So we kept that as a component of the seminar. But all the classroom is online, and the only part that is in person and on bike is outside. You know, CDC guidelines of mask wearing and social distancing is mandated, and we send around a public health or a health questionnaire prior to the start of the seminar. But it's gone over well, and you know, we do collect feedback at the end, and they've either you know, exceeded the feedback that we're getting in the terms of the quality of the seminar, have exceeded the in-person, or have just, you know, been on par with the in-person seminars. So we're getting the sense that people are still feeling like they have, you know, kind of building that community. You know, that's one of the reasons the league likes to have in-person, is so that you can start building that community of instructors. And you know, when you have those connections in the cycling education community, you kind of tend to teach more, you know, if you have someone to teach with, or, you know, you're seeing those people or networking with those people. But from the feedback what we've gotten, people have, you know, enjoyed the mostly virtual format. And I think probably we're offering that through 2021 as an option for the seminar. And, you know, it's looking to 2022, hopefully when the pandemic is over, you know, we might incorporate some of that virtual learning just as a way to ease travel and some of that travel burden for people.
Alison, I have a question for you actually with the smart cycling and LCI pathways. Like what percentage of folks do you see that are going through smart cycling and then becoming LCIs? And also how many folks take the smart cycling courses and then also do the youth cycling or the older adults, or like how do those options within smart cycling correlate to each other? Or do people just do the youth cycling or the older adults ones on their own?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I wish we had better data on how many people are actually taking smart cycling. We know around just through like some of the bigger groups, knowing how many classes they teach, and then through other ways are, the registration system that some LCIs are starting to use, that the league offers, continuing education forms that I receive, the posting of classes we can see. But so we see the frequency of that, but we don't really know who is taking it. Like who are those students out there, being taught by our LCIs? The LCIs know better than us, but so we are, we're adding a survey to when you renew your LCI certification that asks you questions like that. And it's going to take the place of the continuing education hours that we ask all LCIs to fulfill, so that we can start understanding who are the students in your class. And you're not going to have, we're probably never going to have like great data on those students. I don't know, we'd have to think about how that would work, but we can get a better sense of who those students are through the LCIs that are teaching them. Did that answer your question? I think I kind of went off on a tangent on that.
I mean, that did. Like my experience too is that data is hard to collect and confusing.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious if we're on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, I think teaching youth is definitely more popular than teaching adults. If for any of you that attended last year's summit, I talked a lot about the Learn to Ride curriculum that we were developing with Bike New York. And that might have dawned on you when you were hearing the updates and you didn't hear anything about it because we had to pivot away from that. That's back on our priority list for 2021. But with the pandemic, the lack of seminars, like we only hosted 12 seminars last year, and typically we host about 40. So there was a real, lack of resources. So when ARP, approached us and said, hey, we want to do this smart cycling tips for older adults, can we do that? We had to say, we wanted to say, definitely, we think it's a great and valuable resource, but we had to push Learn to Ride kind of down on the priority list and say, you know what, ARP wants to partner on this. They have some resources to put towards this, so this is what we're going to make as our priority. So, but Learn to Ride, we're hoping to get that out in this year, probably the later half of the year. And I know there's a lot of other curriculum that is really valuable and important, and we could add to make the curriculum even more robust. But we're just going to have to take one thing at a time and build the curriculum. And I see a lot of people from Bike Utah here, Jace. That's a tribute to your work. I want to say that Bike Utah, it's like my new favorite group. Because like all of a sudden I started getting all these emails from Bike Utah. I was like, wow, what's going on at Bike Utah? And you have what, 6 LCIs on staff there?
We will have 6 this year, I think.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like us because wasn't sure if it was a pestering or a.
No, I mean, everyone started sending me their certification or their maintenance hours forms. And I tell you, it might seem like maybe it seems like a pestering thing to you, but that is one of the only glimpses I have into what people are doing as an LCI. There's certainly some other ways, but I really do look at those maintenance hour credits as a way of just like, oh, that's they're doing stuff. They're doing, and that's how I learned about your best program. So it is, we try and support LCIs as best we can with various tools and resources and connecting. I mean, you all have a lot of great resources on your own, like LCIs as a group. And if the league can, just loosely, collect you and give you that ability to talk to each other and share resources, that makes our job a lot easier. I mean, just for you to build from each other. We're a small staff, like it's just me in the smart cycling program. So the more that you're connected and building off what each other are doing, I think the better off cycling education is in the United States. We're thrilled to lead and all of that, but you guys are the building, the foundation of it all, and you're the ones that are out there talking to the kids and talking to the adults and holding, like instructing the learn to ride and seeing what other parts of the curriculum that we're missing that we need to develop more. So
Alison, there was a quick question from Laura about the maintenance hour credits. I think that was something that I didn't see for a long time either, but
yeah.
If I understand right, they're a voluntary submission at this point, and it's a page that you just submit the hours you've done for teaching classes and stuff to keep your credit hours going.
Yeah.
To renew your LCI for the next year.
Exactly. It's we ask that they be returned. It's not something that we're checking on. Honestly, there's no way that we can require them. If we don't get them, nothing will happen to you. But it just informs us. It's a nice way that when we're looking for things that are happening, we have a magazine, we have e-news, we want to fill it with what you all are doing, so it's just another avenue to a resource for us to hear what's happening across the US. And we there might come a time when we do require that. It'd be really hard to keep track of. But we're gonna, when you renew your LCI, we're changing eventually in the next, expect it maybe in the second half of 2021. But we're going to ask you what you've done, and if it's just watching videos or attending the summit, working with your local group, hosting events. We want to hear about it. So, and that the form is found in the LCI portal. Yeah. So I think we're ending at 1:30, right? Are we 3 minutes over? I think so. All right, so I'm gonna do a wrap up. I wanna thank all of you for attending. I wanna thank Jace in particular for his willingness to jump in and do an icebreaker and tell us more about Bike Utah and his experience. Don't forget, if you're gonna attend the LCI Appreciation Hour tonight, and you all are cordially invited, please let us know through the Whova app or the web app, the platform that you're attending, by just marking it on your agenda. And that makes you eligible for prizes that we're giving out, fun prizes. If you're having trouble with the Whova platform and it's just not your thing, just email me that you'll be there and I'll put you on the list, okay? So enjoy the National Bike Summit. I know it's not in person, but we've got a lot of people here and it's going to be a great event. And it's exciting to be a part of, and I'm excited to see all of you and have you all as LCIs. So a big thank you. And we'll see you around the summit. Bye.